All right.
Will, how are you, sir?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I gotta say, you've been on such a roll between Succession, The Menu, Regime, Mountainhead, and now Bugonia. You've mastered this art and holding a mirror up to chaos, somehow making it hilarious. So congratulations on another big one. But correct me if I'm wrong. But Ari Aster told you to check out Save the Green Planet, and he said there was something that spoke to you, spoke to us right now. What did that mean for you? What about that story felt like it was screaming to be told in 2025?
Well, I think probably in ways that the filmmakers of the original film could not have foreseen, that I just felt that there was something quite contemporary and American that this 2003 Korean film, again, yeah, could not have been aware of. And I suppose I wrote the film sort of during the heat of COVID, and in some ways, I still feel like we're living downstream from those moments, from those months, and that feeling of isolation, paranoia, confusion, not quite sure what story to believe, the official story, the unofficial story. Every story that you're sort of being told doesn't really feel satisfying and doesn't really feel like it's leading you towards anything productive either for you or for your community. And so you kind of, some people make their own story. And I think that's sort of what Teddy, to me, it seemed like this is a great way to tell that, to make a movie about someone telling themselves that story, convincing themselves of a reality, of a truth. And in Teddy's case, a lot of what he convinces himself of is not entirely wrong. Some
Right.
of some of it's wrong, some of his methods are wrong, but certainly even at the outset in his the way he describes a sort of hollowed out shell of a democracy and civic institutions that have failed and feed back to nothing, and just a feeling that no one who is being immiserated in this country is being looked out for, and no sense of community, a sense of atomization. I think all of that feels kind of real to me, and it's certainly becoming even more true, and feels like something of a global phenomenon as well. And part of that is the internet. Part of that is a kind of just erosion of democratic norms. Part of that is kind of a rise in authoritarian government, a rise in extreme wealth inequality. Um, uh, yeah, so I think he's a victim of all of that, and it felt like, boy, that again, none of that could have been foreseen in the 2003 film, but it felt like if you remade that movie or took that premise and made a new movie, it would have to be about this, that everything I just talked about, this moment.
Absolutely. Speaking of characters, you've written so many great characters who are obsessed with control, whether it's billionaires, politicians, or guys in their basement who think they're saving the world. What draws you to these people who think that they've cracked the code, but end up falling apart because of it?
Well, I think in some way that we're all trying to, I don't know, in our own way, we're all trying to make sense of our world. We're all trying to also be part of a um, part to be heard, to be part of a conversation, to feel as though we're not small and powerless, because especially nowadays, it doesn't really feel like we're given a whole lot of participation in any sort of democratic or civic project. It feels like, maybe we're able to vote every few years, but that's kind of it.
Yep.
And so how else do you affect any sort of change? How else do you, when you look around the world and see everything that's wrong with it, how do you live in that? You could just put on your blinders and try to make money, or put on your blinders and distract yourself, or you could try to do something. And I think you're right. I think everyone in the movie is on a mission to save something. I think for Teddy, it's to save Earth. Strangely, I think for Michelle, it's to save Earth as well,
Right.
um, but maybe to save it from humanity, right? And then I think for Don, who's in some ways the heart and soul of the film, and maybe he thinks more locally and less globally. I think he's on a mission to save Teddy,
Yeah.
and by fixing Teddy or trying to save Teddy, maybe that's in some way that's sort of that's meaningful. That might be in a small microcosmic way, a way of saving everybody. So yes, everyone's on that sort of mission, but because of their own emotional or political or cultural biases and agendas, it's very hard for them all to pull together in the same direction, even though really they should.
Right, right. Now,
Yeah.
between Mountainhead basically predicting where AI and social media were heading and Begonia diving into conspiracy culture, your work always feels ahead of the curve. Do you consciously chase what's next, or does the world just keep catching up to your ideas?
No, I think if you try to chase what's next and try to be incredibly relevant or topical, I think you find yourself in big trouble because you almost always, because most movies take so long to get made. Most anything, any kind of art takes a long time to get made. And so, I mean, I wrote this script 5 years ago. So anytime you think you're writing something really of the moment, just just remember you're going to have to wait years until people see this thing, and so there's a very good chance you're going to be behind the wave. The more topical you try to be, the bigger the risk that you're going to be behind the wave. And so yeah, it's basically what you try to do is more so than folk. I mean, Mountain Hill was a somewhat different situation because that was made so written and shot very quickly, intentionally very quickly. I mean, I think it was written in December and on the air in like whatever that was, like March or April or something like that. It was incredibly quick and reactive. But most things are not like that. And so you kind of have to think in a more either try to think ahead to what you think the next calamity will be or where you think the culture might be heading,
Sure.
or kind of more right in a general sense and try to make it a little bit more timeless. I mean, even in this film, right? There's no mention of who's in the White House. There's not really any mention of anything specific. It just feels like it's kind of atmospherically, it's catching something. And I guess we got lucky in that way. I mean, even since I wrote the film, this was an example of something, again, becoming more relevant than I intended, maybe.
Oh, it's incredible. Well, look, last question I have for you is you've used food as a character reveal before, the cheeseburger in the menu, the fish pan in Mountainhead, and now we got this unforgettable spaghetti moment in Begonia. What is it about food that keeps you coming back? And what do these moments say about the people, about who people really are when the mask comes off?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the second part of the question for just food generally. It's all I think about all day. It's the main thing is what am I eating for dinner tonight? And my whole day is sort of leading towards that goal, and that's what keeps me going when my energy or my mood flags. Is thinking, don't forget though, later tonight you've got that dinner. So I'm not one of those eat for sustenance people. I'm just constantly thinking about it, and so that must mean something. I guess when I write characters, they're kind of thinking about it a lot too. It's just a part of the human biological imperative that you can't erase, and it just consumes a lot of. But you're right. It's I've gotten that note before, even on scripts of sort of wow, there's a lot of food talk in here, and I can't help it. It's also just a way to signify a lot of things. You can signify class and status. You
Yeah.
can signify desire. You can signify longing and pain and happiness, and it's sort of it can mean a lot of things.
Well, I love that. Look, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me again. I even talking to you right now, I want to go and instantly watch the movie again. I need to see it
Oh,
a second time. It has great
oh,
rewatchability.
oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.